Well, this reminds me of those paintings you did in 4150 when you were doing portraits. And I don't know if it was with the grid or without the grid at that time, but I was always astonished. There wouldn't seem to be any kind of an image on the canvas. And in the last 20 minutes, the last 20-minute session, you would seem to pull everything together. What was it you were doing for the first 2 hours? Were you just finding everything and making some note of it? Keeping it open and cross-checking things?
Well, there you go. You're making it too much of a mental thing out of it. I was saying today with you paint the quality of the place. You don't paint the shape of it necessarily. No, you stay away, but once you define it, it's locked in. You can't get in it again quite the same way, because your brush stroke and everything has to pay attention to what's going on, on the inside. You're filling it in. Whereas if you treat it as a place with the quality, you can't put quality in later. It's just not what they tell you in school. It's really the opposite of what they say. Because
what do you mean by quality?
There's a value, the value, and the ineffable quality of color that's in it. And it's relationships around it too. You're not settling down on it too soon.
There's nothing specific about the quality.
You're drawing at the same time. It's all drawing at the same time, but it's not the kind of drawing you're doing. It's based upon the points, and everything is in relationship to them. But that's changing as you learn. As things are entering in with things, the places change a bit. That's the idea. So that's what I'm saying. I think it works, using that point and a vertical off of that middle point. A vertical will go through the corner of the mouth, and how much of the mouth is showing over that line, how little, will tell you something about the tilt of the head. Right? The tilt of the head, the line will come, and there'll be more on this side. But that comes with it. That just comes right along with vertical, which is your observation. Then if you can take this measurement. Take this measurement and bring it over here, and you can, on a 3/4, 2/3, you can locate some point over here, which gives you an idea about where the side of the face. And this is the hardest, always the part that my heads would fail, because I was always coming down this way, and I wasn't paying that much attention to width, so trying to tie it together like this at the end is always fraught with danger. But if you have this line in this place and this thing, you can start right at the beginning to disarm this problem. So this is a big problem. It always was. That's what I wanted to do with you.
So you use that same sort of apprehension of getting the quality of something in a portrait, because it seems you're less free to move around and think that way.
You're drawing all the time, though. It's a different kind of drawing than.
But so it's not drawing shapes. What
it's drawing places. It's not the shapes. Shapes have edges.
Right. So you're trying to. Are you trying to diffuse the edges?
Just putting everything in, but not settling it. I think.
So you're keeping your edges very soft, so that you're not committing to where these things are?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and exactly.
Right, exactly, not committing. And so, as Rick said, you kind of did this commitment sort of at the very end. I recall 2 paintings you did at Brooklyn College that had that same ghostly-like quality for quite a while, and then suddenly I came over and everything is...
Well, I think you kind of romanticize.
No, the head of the black man who... It was one of those things
Yeah,
that...
well, I was in control of that all the way, you know, I really was. I felt I didn't have any problem with that picture. In spite of the fact that it was probably the most complicated head I ever tried to paint. The guy with a plum
He had a birthmark.
birthmark on his face. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's just, how do you do that? It's qualities. That's exactly what it was all about. Qualities. If you start getting involved with, you know, drawing, but you know, what is that kind of relationship to this, you know?
Yeah.
And you put it in like, you know, and you don't define it.
Right.
Keep that open.
You weren't worrying about that birthmark destroying form, the form of the head.
No, because it doesn't.
Right.
It didn't.
Because the value of it
If
was...
you paint it with the right relationships, then you don't lose that.
It was a very large birthmark. It was a very large birthmark.
Yes,
So it wasn't like a one
it
tiny
was.
specific.
It was a very large.
Yeah, it was half, you know, like through his face.
So it was part of the form itself. It was by itself part of the form.
Yeah. But it didn't. It didn't break the form.
Right.
Or didn't create some alternative form which doesn't
Right.
conform with what you think of as a
It
head.
was still, the head was still there.
Right.
It was only a surface change.
And that was a difficult room to paint in when you weren't... And Rick and I used to always paint over on the sides, if I recall, because where you painted from, you painted with the windows behind you, so that the figure was being lit from the front, which was always very difficult to deal with, as opposed to being on the side where you at least had a shadow side and then a front side that was lit. And I remember the...
Yeah, but you know, you say that, but that might, what you're saying, might for me be just the opposite. Because I always went to that place.
The middle?
Yeah.
Ah.
I preferred it, and if I tried the other, I might have had much more of a problem.
Really?
I might, you know.
Is that because you like having all of the values close, rather than breaking the figure face up into strong contrasts? So everything was middle value, and you could push around for a while without really shaping something, or having trouble moving it later because it was so different from the rest of it.
Yeah, I think that was I don't know really. I can't.
You did that unconsciously?
I like the problem of the frontal. You know, actually, I used to screw up all the time by painting everybody straight on in the front, which is not a good idea. I think it should be off some.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to be. Yeah, I guess I was thinking of paintings all the time. Things that I liked, portraits.